It's looking quite likely that we're going to be getting The Sims 4 Generations this year. And in this video today, I want to go through the 5 reasons that lead me to believe that we are actually getting The Sims 4 Generations. Some things covered in this video you're absolutely going to have heard of before, and other things you may potentially not have noticed, and they've been sitting right under your nose this whole time. So with no further ado, here's the 5 reasons why I believe we're getting The Sims 4 Generations this year. Number 1, obviously we have the latest roadmap that was released earlier this month. The latest roadmap features a lot of different things in it that really point to families. And the first thing I want to do is point to the language used in the tweet and the material we received. The tweet uses the word familiar and it uses the term relative as well, while also in the graphic using the word reunion. These are all things that people commonly associate with families or close personal friendship environments. While familiar could technically be a bit of a stretch, it's certainly on the table and cannot be ruled out. In case you don't know, we the Sims community really like to hope that we get generations by reading into every little detail. So please, EA, if you're watching this, please make my dreams come true. Not to mention as well, in the recently released bathroom clutter kit, it also talks about for all ages, which is something that they've not really covered in the past. Next up, we have the content that's been featured in the latest roadmap, plus some other material too. In the latest roadmap, you have the kids sitting under a tree, which to me, family tree because it's got portraits on it. And of course, when it goes to the expansion pack frame, it goes to the Tooth Fairy, which is a hint towards child gameplay or family gameplay. Obviously, it's not the actual Tooth Fairy. It looks more like a bear. You know, it's probably some legal thing that EA aren't allowed to use. Not to mention as well, the graphic that's used in the roadmap is very cartoon, almost kind of like it was drawn by a child and it's kind of come to life. There's a lot of running themes in the roadmap that point towards Generations or a family-based pack. If we get a family-based pack that's not Generations, I will cry. Here's a little bonus one that I mentioned when I said other materials. In the latest kit announcement for Bathroom Clutter Kit, it features a grandmother in the assets for it. When was the last time you actually saw an elder featured in an announcement for a pack or a kit? So this next one is number 3 and number 4 because they're essentially 2 points in one. Brace yourself for this one because this is one I absolutely never would have picked up on if it was not for Twitter. I can't take the credit for this one. This one's come courtesy of DJ Batty Boy on Twitter, identifying that the phrase used, "it's all relative," from the roadmap is actually a family sitcom that takes place in the city of Boston. The show was from the early 2000s and I've never personally heard of it, so there's a good chance you never have either. It only lasted from 2003 to 2004. But what's most interesting about it as well, in conjunction with that, brings us to point number 4, is that the Boston Bridge and Boston Lighthouse are in the city of Boston. Well, of course, I just called them the Boston Bridge and Boston Lighthouse. But here's where things get interesting. If we go back to the actual roadmap we received, the bridge on the left-hand side looks surprisingly similar to the Boston Bridge, and the lighthouse on the right-hand side looks surprisingly like the Boston Lighthouse. Now, full disclosure, we very well could be reading way too much into this, and it's just totally coincidental that they've decided to use the term "it's all relative" here, and it's got no relationship whatsoever, and it's not going to be set in Boston or a remake of Boston. However, these are the lengths that we go to for the love of our life, The Sims 4. And number 5, last but certainly not least, this one's a little bit harder to actually kind of notice, but this is my own personal one that I have not seen other people discuss. Gotta leave the most exciting to last, don't you? Over the last couple of months, we've received a few kits such as Everyday Clutter and Bathroom Clutter as well. And I want to draw your attention to a couple of items specifically featured in those kits. In Everyday Clutter, you receive a box of stored items that have got some letters and some boxes and things like that in it. I didn't think too much of this originally, but when I saw them featured next to the grandma's dentures that we got in the Bathroom Clutter Kit this month, it made me think maybe there's a little bit of a theme here. That those are stored letters from grandma or somebody older who wants to store the letters that they've received over their family history. Not to mention the Bathroom Clutter Kit has a lot of kid-friendly items and it talks about all ages and stuff like that. In that kit and Everyday Clutter, there's a lot of signs that point towards family gameplay. Now that's me just purely speculating, but I said this back at the Behind the Sims Summit when I reacted to it immediately, that there are a lot of signs pointing to Generations, and I still feel this way with everything that we've gotten in the last couple of weeks. So there you have it. Do you think we're actually going to be getting The Sims 4 Generations this year? And what did you think of my list of the 5 reasons why we're getting Generations this year? Do you agree with it? Do you disagree? Or do you potentially have something else that may actually add to the theory that we are getting it? I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments section below. Thanks so much for watching the video. Like the video if you enjoyed it, and subscribe to the channel so you can stay up to date with all my future Sims content. There'll be tons of Sims content if we actually get generations. There'll be tons either way though. Thanks so much for watching, and until next time, bye bye.